Hey, I'm Joshua Bassett, and I'm here with BuzzFeed to talk about my firsts. Let's get into it. First memory from filming the pilot of High School Musical, the musical, the series. That is such a great question. The first day of filming, we filmed in Big Red's basement. Me and Larry did a scene, and our characters were supposed to be best friends. We barely knew each other, but we immediately had chemistry, and it was such a cool thing to shoot. And then Olivia shot her, I think I kind of on the ukulele. So Larry and I stuck around and watched that. I may or may not have cried, but no, okay, I cried, whatever, I cried. It was beautiful. Are you kidding? Everyone there was emotional. It was really cool. She did it live. It was it was so special. And yeah, it was just a beautiful first day, and it was really cool. First impressions of your HSMTMTS castmates. We all first got together for the table read, shortly after. I think Larry booked his part. He was the last one to book it. And I had already read with Larry and read with Olivia for their roles. So I was familiar with them, and then I knew Julia beforehand, and I sort of knew Sophia. It was the most special experience when we all got together and did the first table read. I just remember the energy in the room was palpable, and everyone was just freaking out about how great everyone was, and it was just an immediate bond between the cast. So that was my first impression of it, which is not the worst way to start off a series. First time you realized you wanted to be a performer. I started doing musical theater when I was 7, but I didn't really think about it. I was 7, so I just did it because my sisters did it. But I remember when I was 9, I played Charlie Bucket in Willy Wonka, and I was doing a dance number, and I had to do this move, and my shoe fell off. And I had no time to pick it up, so I kept dancing and walking around. Everyone saw that my shoe was on the ground. And then when I came back around, I was doing this other dance move, and as I did it, I stepped into my shoe seamlessly, and the entire crowd was on their feet, cheering, screaming, because I did not miss a beat. It was one of the most amazing memories of my childhood. I just remember that moment being whoa, that was crazy. I would say that was probably the first time I was whoa, this is really cool. I actually really love performing. First role you really wanted but didn't get. I started coming out to LA when I was about 16. There were a handful of roles. I was really close to the role in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It was down to me and Ross Lynch, and he got it. I was super happy for him. But yeah, I was definitely really hoping for that one. There's a couple others, but that one I guess stands out to the one where I was I got really close and I was really excited about it, and it just didn't work out. But ultimately, everything worked out. First song you wrote for your new EP. I think it was Sorry, because I wrote that one about 2 years ago at this point. That was definitely the first one that I wrote on it, but the entire EP I've written over the span of 2 years. But if I had to go back, I would say Sorry was the first one, which is cool because it's the first song on the EP. First memory on the set of Grey's Anatomy. Well, I remember my audition for Grey's Anatomy, which was really special. The casting director was super kind to me, and I remember walking out of there being there's no way I'm getting that. There's just no way. I think I booked a vacation or was trying to go to San Francisco, and they called me and they were you finally got it. And I was of course, the second you book a vacation. But I was I'm more than grateful to be on Grey's Anatomy. Long story short, I just remember it being the most tight-knit set I'd ever been on. Literally everyone had it together. The crew, they've been working on the show for 20 years? I don't know how many years the show's been on, but for forever. All the stars and everyone was so gracious and nice and super welcoming, and it was a little bit scary and intimidating, but mostly just super cool to see them in their environment and see how professional everybody was, and they were all really kind, so that was really important and special to me. Oof, geez, I'm the king of giving the longest answers to the simplest questions. First time you realized you were famous. That one's funny. I don't really know. I was at Disneyland one time. I had gone a week before and nobody cared, and then that week when I went, it was to the point where I was surrounded by so many people that security had to take me through the back, into the back stage of Disneyland. We couldn't really go anywhere in the park, so we would just go on the ride through the exits. But yeah, so that was an interesting one. That was a little bit of a shock to me, because I said, I'd been to Disneyland 1 or 2 weeks right before, and nobody cared. First person who believed in me, probably my dad. When I was 7, he taught me how to play drums for my church, and I played every week with him. I don't know how I played drums when I was 7. He believed in me and he told me I could do it, and so I was okay, I can do it, and then I did. So I would have to say my dad. First celebrity crush, the first one that comes to mind is Hilary Duff. Pretty sure I've just always had a crush on Hilary Duff. Weirdly, it was because of Agent Cody Banks. I wanted to be Agent Cody Banks when I was younger. Hilary Duff is Hilary Duff. It's perfect. First time you were on stage, I think it was for my first musical, High School Musical. So yeah, I would say that. First time you were starstruck. Why am I thinking of the Starstruck Disney Channel movie right now? Dude, I don't know. I don't know. I'll tell you when I wasn't starstruck was when I met Jennifer Lopez and I didn't know who she was. I was 8 years old and she tried to give me a hug and I was like, nope. And I went away and my dad was like, what are you doing? He's like, you just rejected a hug from Jennifer Lopez? And I was like, I don't care. I don't know who she is. I guess I was anti-starstruck. I was a background actor on the set of one of her movies, and they had placed me next to her and her co-star, and I had like sort of been talking to them like over the course of the day. And so when I was leaving, I went to go say goodbye. I hugged the guy for whatever reason because he was like super cool to me, like super nice. J-Lo was nice, don't get me wrong, but she was just doing other things. But then when J-Lo like wanted to give me a hug for whatever reason, I was like, nope. And I literally said no, and I walked away. Like, yeah, crazy. I'm hoping that it'll be on late night. I don't know. That's just my vision. Is that on late night television? Me and Jennifer Lopez are gonna get that hug. First quarantine binge watch. Tiger King. Who didn't binge Tiger King as soon as it came out? Literally was glued to my TV. I did not get up except to use the restroom. I didn't even drink water. I just used the restroom and watched the entirety of Tiger King. First song you ever wrote? First song I ever wrote was a song for a girl because I needed to ask her to formal, and she had turned down 2 guys before me. So I was like, okay. I was like, if she turned down these 2 guys who I personally thought were attractive, I was like, if these 2 attractive guys are being turned down by this girl, then I gotta step up my game. And so I wrote a song like in 20 minutes on the ukulele, and then me and my friend drove to her house the next night, and I just remember driving home and being like, okay, that was super easy to write a song that didn't matter at all. What if I actually tried writing a real song? And so that was like how I kind of got the idea of like, I can totally do this. Why am I not doing this? You know? Oh, shoot, I don't think I have my ukulele. I actually sang it weirdly for my High School Musical audition. They had me sing it when I was in the final round of auditions with all the producers, because in the original script, Ricky asked Nene to something via ukulele, and I was like, dude, this is crazy, because in real life, I asked a girl to formal via ukulele, and so they asked me to play the song, so I did. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's somewhere on the internet. Thank you so much, BuzzFeed. These were my firsts, and make sure you check out my new EP, Joshua Bassett, out right now. Thanks. Mwah.